It's 2 p.m. A very good afternoon and welcome to the Monday edition of Market View. My name is Lungilele Makakura. Thank you for tuning in. You can watch us on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV. Today on the program, business journalist Nelsiwe had a sit-down interview with Tulisile Dlamini, who's the president of the Business Federation of Eswatini. This is an organization that represents, protects, advances, and also promotes the socio-economic interests of businesses in Eswatini. Their conversation was about their role in uplifting SMEs in the country, as government has always emphasized that they are a critical sector in economic growth. The Kingdom of Eswatini has a population of 1.2 million people, and in 2017 it had approximately 59,283 SMEs, which represented 10% of the population according to the Finmark Trust survey. The sector employs over 16% of the total working age population according to the survey, and it plays a strategic role in addressing the country's triple challenges of youth unemployment, poverty rates and income inequality. Stay tuned for this interview. And for our leading story, 6 schools are competing under the Junior Achievement Competition of the Year, which seeks to nurture school learners to come up with ideas for businesses. The event is ongoing at the George Hotel in Manzini, and the ministry's principal secretary, Melusi Masu, is expected to make his remarks. On our final segment, we take a look at today's financial markets. For now, let's take a look at business news. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. This is Market View, and now for our news. 6 schools are competing under the Junior Achievement Competition of the Year, which seeks to nurture school learners to come up with ideas for businesses. The Director of Small and Medium Enterprises at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and Trade says such competitions play a critical role in instilling the culture of entrepreneurship amongst learners, who will in turn use the skills to start businesses when they complete school. The event is still ongoing at the George Hotel in Manzini.
Innovation in 8 schools because we have 34 schools that have been participating. We started with regional competitions whereby 3 of them were selected, and now we have 6 schools that are competing in the final stage. So we will be crowning the winner today that will represent the country in Mauritius, where we will be having the JA Africa competition in December. So basically we are looking forward that the company that will be chosen today will be able to represent the country and come back with the trophy, because last year we could not win and we could not proceed to JA Africa, in fact JA worldwide. So basically this year we are very optimistic that whatever product that will come up with will convince the judges in JA Africa, and eventually we will proceed to JA World. We want them, when they finish school, to go into business rather than seeking employment. So basically this is very critical to us, to say that when they go out there, they will have all this business management skill and how to run a business. Then eventually they'll be able to then get assistance in terms of funding, because already they have also started their prototypes, which will then now be upscaled and then become products that can be traded at a very large scale and eventually create employment for others.
And for international story, water scarcity, whether driven by drought or the overexploitation of water sources, has created fertile ground for a burgeoning water market in which local communities and private companies fight for the right to access an essential resource.
This stuff is generally regarded as the Earth's most valuable commodity, but that might not be the case for long. Climate change and population growth has pushed the world into what NASA calls a major hydraulic change, aka a global water crisis. The scarcity of water means one thing: its value is going up. It's why investment firms are snatching up land tied to water rights, and French farmers are taking big business and the authorities to court. The water belongs to the nation, considered a common good. And globally, water is becoming more scarce. Half of the world's population could be living in areas facing water scarcity by as early as next year. This sets the stage for a range of other problems, like increased risk of disease. Women and children bear the brunt of the hardship. As the ones typically collecting water, they face exploitation. So, could water markets be a viable solution? Transporting and selling water from one place where it's abundant to a place where there isn't enough could fill an important need for people where there is water scarcity. But as demand grows, so too will the price. The World Resources Institute ranks Chile as one of the most water-stressed countries in the world, meaning that the country's demand exceeds the available supply. Central Chile has been experiencing drought for more than a decade, and the evidence is already visible. This is Laguna Aculeo, one of Chile's lakes. Well, it used to be a lake, because now it looks like this. Hydrologists say that the lack of rainfall in the country has contributed to its demise, but that overexploitation from humans has had the biggest impact. In the 1990s, water from nearby rivers and aquifers, which replenish the lake, were diverted for other uses. The government sold water rights to water-intensive avocado and cherry farms. Summer homes for wealthier residents use some of the water to grow lawns and fill their swimming pools. Experts blame the unchecked sale of water rights during this period as the reason why the lake is dry, and that has encouraged some to try to bring transparency to Chile's water market. 10 years ago, a private company named Greenstone Resource Partners LLC bought a 500-acre parcel of land in Cibola, Arizona for around $10 million. The land came with water rights to the Colorado River, which had been in decline due to drought and overuse. For the first couple of years, Greenstone leased the land back to farmers in the area. And then in 2018, they sold the water rights tied to that parcel of land to a gated community in Phoenix, Arizona. They made a profit of $14 million by shipping the water 200 miles away. Even though the Greenstone sale didn't affect Cibola's municipal water supply, it stunned local residents, who worried about the impact selling water from one community just to redirect it towards another will have on farming in the future. This is all according to an investigation by The Guardian. Massachusetts State Senator Elizabeth Warren is trying to put a stop to water futures trading, which allows investors, farmers, and municipalities to speculate on water scarcity and trade water rights as a commodity. Water isn't actually exchanged. And there's one U.S. index giving investors a benchmark of the price development of water in California, the NASDAQ Veles California Water Index, which launched in 2018. Experts say the danger is that it could encourage investors to buy water rights in order to drive the price up and to make money on the futures market. With more than 2 billion people lacking access to safe water, the idea that water scarcity is being used as a way to make profit is concerning to the United Nations.
It's 8 minutes after 2 p.m. and that's it for our business news. Let's go for an ad break. We will resume shortly.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Ujala masada mahlok nathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu
Sivile sive sikhulume.
Welcome back. You're still watching Market View. Thank you for tuning in. I'm now joined by Nelson Ndlangamadla, business journalist. She had an interview with the president of the Business Federation of Eswatini. It's a newly formed organization, the Bugenje Tinzaba Dabasuma Business Labancane. She joins me now to Skazela Gabanti Ngai Federation. Nelly, very good afternoon and welcome to the program. You did have an interview with the president, Tulsile Dlamini. It's a newly formed organization. Tell us more about their mandate as a federation.
Sibonge kakhulu Lulu sivusele nembukeli wayo iMarket View. Ngingasho nje ukuthi sibenako ukucoca naye president wayo iFederation lekungiyona ibuka bosomabhizinisi labancane sibonile evikini leliphelile beyihlangene nayo indvuna ka Commerce Industry and Trade. Sitawuyikhulumisa ke kabanti naye later on president, but la kuchazile kwekuthi small and medium enterprises haven't fully taken advantages of the opportunities lega khona kudema business wabala indzaba yabo bo mining wabala indzaba ye construction kuthi there is still a lot that needs to be done there to ensure small and medium enterprises grow in the country.
Yeah, because Bonavile mandate tab is uplifting SMEs in the country. How are they planning to do that, furthermore? Ngiyakuvula ukuthi bafuna ukungena kakhulu the mining sector. Yini labayenda ukubona to uplift SMEs?
They are saying in education. We've talked to a number of SMEs and they've indicated that the issue of getting finances still poses a challenge for them. But abakhona kahle ukuthi bathole timali etinhlanganweni letibolekisa ngetimali, for example emabhange nalamanye ama-financers. So bathi bona labatawucila kakhulu kuko indzaba ukuthi let us educate them so that they understand ukuthi if you going to a financer, what is it that is expected from you. Nangabe kunemali kumele ukuthi uyibhadale, if there is collateral wenda kanjani, because what they are seeing is, we must remember lungelele ukuthi make thuli idladla longiyena ang president walenhlangano lena uphinza abe ku Citizens Economic Empowerment Council, and she has been in the SME industry for a very long time. So they are saying ukuthi we will gather the SMEs, we will teach them how to get these finances labakhala ngabo kangaka, because the banks and the financial institution akusho ukuthi abafisi kubasita, but it's just that they don't know how to go about it getting these finances.
Yeah, and I think it's a organization lekahle. It has been endorsed by the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade. Last week, they met the minister, Mangloba Kumala. How did that meeting go?
Lapho bebayo kusho kuminister ukuthi imandate yabo iyini nekuthi batawusebenza kanjani. We know ukuthi there are different organizations la khona which are trying to help the small and medium enterprises. With the over 90,000 small and medium enterprises according to the FinScope survey, lele yendiwe nje nyalo lephume nyalo lekhokhwe nge-SEPAC. But these small and medium enterprises are not growing at the rate that is expected, and partly because of the issues of governance, which is where the president said we will come in there to see how can we help them so that they can be able to uplift themselves kwabona ngekuthi i-governance yabo ibe kahle. Issues of tax, we know ukuthi bosomabhizinisi labancane, they don't want to embrace indzaba ye tax because they feel like I am making the money, but ukhanza ukuthi le mali seyiyahamba ihamba tax yonke. So they are going to ensure ukuthi bayabafundzisa ngekusho kwa president.
Yeah. All right, Nelly, we have over 50,000 SMEs in the country, and they do play a critical role, in economic growth because they bavula opportunities and how important is the sector?
This sector is important according to government. Nje nasingabuka post-COVID-19 recovery plan, hulumende uvekele wakubeka kwacaca ukuthi these small and medium enterprises play a very important and vital role in uplifting the economy, which is why in the Citizens Economic Empowerment Act sekunako lokuthi let us reserve some sectors for eMaswati. The Minister of Commerce, Industry and Trade mentioned last week when he launched the council kwekuthi these sectors la njengabo retail, let us look kwekuthi mangakhe eMaswati la khona lapho, so that we can know where to maybe put more effort into helping the local small and medium enterprises.
Yeah, I think another challenge that has been raised by various CEOs of youth organizations is that there is no diversity in youth, with coming up with business ideas. Bahlale nje bacabanga imfuyo. So that's another challenge labayi know. Thaingabe bakhulumile ngaloko ukuthi they want to change a direction lokuthi vele ibe khona diversity in SMEs.
Such organizations ngisho lulu ukuthi they feed into the bigger strategy sahulumende lapho khona buka khona lokuthi vele we mustn't as small and medium enterprises and as a country let's bring diversity into the projects that we are doing. Asengibekise nje ngidawubekisa ngekuthi bayasho ukuthi ukhanza ukuthi nangabe lomunye uvula esiphaza nalomunye utovula siphaza laceleni. So they are looking at teaching eMaswati diversity, how to bring in more profit, how to attract customers. Lena yi mandate litiko laka letema business nekuthengiselana lese vele licalile. On Wednesday nje there is a workshop where government is looking at how are we going to ensure that there is diversity, how are we going to show ukuthi more eMaswati take advantage of the opportunities la khona ngalana kute business, especially lama business lamancane.
Yeah, because by federation nje kusukunyiswa neli what is their strategy, moving forward ukuzama nje kunyusa lizinga noma linani labo somabhizinisi labancane lapha eveni babuke ukuthi batakwenda njani lokho trainings.
Yes.
Batawabamba ema trainings.
Yes, bashito ukuthi batawabamba ema trainings. Basho ukuthi they are targeting small and medium enterprises, even those that are informal. According to SRA, ERS rather, bosoma business laba informal, they play a part in uplifting the country's economy and dibanengi. And these small and medium enterprises are being recognized. Gwabo laba kusho ukuthi they are going to ensure ukuthi bayabathatha, bayabafaka into the federation, have some sort of formality so that they can be able to pay tax, they can be able to even benefit from the different funds that government has.
Yeah, so financial literacy, I think nayo it's one of challenge nje laba ke babhekane nabo. Bosoma business abancane vele bayakhona nisitakala ngato things about financial literacy. They well vested njengetinza about my finances, bo savings, budgeting, konke.
Bosoma business labancane bayasitakala. What she said is nanoma ngabe babafundzisa bosoma business labancane, but you find that they are not keen. The interest is very low to learn and to le uptake igcina seyincane yalokuthi asihambe phela siyotifuna letimali nanoma sebafundzisiwe.
Yeah, and things about insurance, just ensuring, that their businesses singabe dikhona in leto ehlelweni labo by federation.
Ensuring the businesses, that is a step that should be taken by the owner of that business to see if this happens to my business, this is what I'm going to do. Ngilapha lapho khona ngidawubona ukuthi ibusiness yami, where is the cover? But what they are doing bona is what government is doing, because I want to look at the broader picture. Government is ensuring ukuthi businesses fully understand what running a business is. The Minister of Commerce has taken the direction now to say, we want you to understand the business that you're running. We want you to understand what is a business. We want you to do e-bookkeeping. We want you to have records, which is why the Eswatini Revenue Service gwayona sayithi kukhona umthelo lo i-presumptive tax, which you will just show us. It's okay. This is how I think my finances are memeng corner. You don't need to have maybe more accountant because they've realized that this is very taxing for small and medium enterprises. Yeah. This is why, but okay, bring the presumptive tax so that you can be seen to be a formal business, because if you're a formal business, this is the only way that one of the ways that you can benefit fully from the funds. And from the laws of the land asengibekise njengayo i-Citizens Economic Empowerment Act lesho ukuthi sayifuna kubuka kakhulu bosomabhizinisi beMaswati but nangabe unale business lehlelekile, this is when you will be able to fully take advantage of the opportunities lekakhona labekwe nguhulumende nalabekwe ngiletinye tinhlangano letibolekisa ngetimali.
All right. No, thank you so much, Nesma Akulu. That was business journalist Nelly just giving us details of her interview with President Thuli Dlamini, President of the Business Federation of Eswatini. This is a newly formed organization. Stay careful. When you come back, we'll take a look at today's financial markets.
Do you pay your TV license and are up to date with your payments? If not, here is your chance. If you own a TV set, a decoder, or a set-top box and you voluntarily declare, the TV license fees will not be backdated and you will only be required to pay for the 2024 TV license fee. On top of that, you will also avoid paying the 50% penalty fee. This offer is valid until the 30th of September 2024. However, if you pay before the last day of this year's trade fair, you stand a chance to win awesome prizes. The draw will be conducted on the last day of the trade fair, the 8th of September 2024. Take advantage of this leniency period. It's not too late to make the right choice. Pay your TV license and be a compliant citizen. Pay your TV license through any of these TV license pay points, MTN Mobile Money, Eswatini Mobile Imali, Eswatini Post Office, and our NetBank account. When you make payment for your TV license, always remember to reference with your personal identity number.
Welcome back. You're still watching Market View. This is the Monday edition. On our final segment, we want to take a look at today's financial markets with Sanele Sbia, our in-house economist. A very good afternoon, Mr. Sbia. Thank you for joining us. What's happening in international markets? We saw that major stock markets were mixed early today on the rising expectations of the U.S. inflation rate, and also the FTSE 100 is down by 0.2%. What is happening there?
Good afternoon, Lou, and good afternoon to the viewer at home. So what we are seeing with numbers today, Lou, is yes, we are seeing a bit of some mixed reactions. And actually, when you look at the number, we're seeing that in the US, we closed it with records, with record highs. We've seen the Dow Jones Industrial Average coming into the above the 40,000 mark, and we've also seen the S&P 500 also just coming into above the 5.5 mark, which we had been hoping was going to happen, and with the bond reach. It is only the Nasdaq that has just maintained its overall, overall performance, not breaking records. So that's entirely and purely because the figures that came in last week, really did come out to show that the U.S. economy, in as much as some of the economic fundamentals are showing to a sign of a declining economy, but the retails data that came out in the retails and the CPI data that came out last week showed that overall, in as much as growth may be weakening, but still there is some surge in terms of the demand. So that somehow allayed fears of recessions, and that's why we are moving into that very high type of region. But what the markets are waiting to see this week, Lou, is how we are waiting to analyze the Federal Reserve Chairs or the Federal Reserve the minutes for that meeting, that where they decided to keep their interest rates really steady at that point in time. So what the markets are waiting to see is to basically analyze and get the tone of those meetings, of those minutes, and then see how, when Powell speaks on Wednesday this week, how is it going to, is the tune going to be changing, really signaling whether we are really indeed heading for interest rate cuts or we are not. So that's what markets are really just going to be bracing in this week, Lulu, waiting for those minutes and also waiting for for that address that's going to happen in Jackson Hole. So we are waiting to see those things. So probably that's why we're seeing markets. If you look into the futures market, you will see that it is somehow showing signs of deceleration because there still is that hawkish stance within the US market, Lulu. And then when we move into London, what we are seeing here is the interest rates talk, or the story of interest rates cuts across the US market is actually, in a way, as we are betting for more interest rates to come, to the interest rate cuts to come, what we are seeing is there is also a reverse on it. It has an impact on the dollar to quite a number of major currencies exchange rate, such that it is significantly weaker against the pound sterling. So that is why we are seeing that somehow of a minor performance, because with a weaker dollar, what it means is, pound sterling denominated currencies, equities become relatively weak. So that's what we are seeing there. But overall, the greater Euro region, what we are seeing basically is, there is still some upbeat, upbeat nature, and, still those stocks are stable. But what we are seeing again is the DAX has actually also broken records. It's back into the 18,000 region. So that means really markets are really gearing up and really just waiting to see what is going to happen when comes September with renewed investments, or renewed, or with an overall new macroeconomic outlook where we start seeing interest rates starting to come down. So that's what we are seeing happening in Europe. And then when we move into Asia, what we are seeing again is that mixed performance there, with mainland and Hong Kong really just posing some slight gains, and then overall with the Nikkei really just taking a few knocks. Again, it's an issue of the currency story. So this interest rate story is not just a story for the US. It's a story, it's a global story. Everyone is contemplating on the cuts of the interest rates, but nobody wants to cut far too earlier compared to the Federal Reserve Bank, because what that is going to result in is basically a situation of a capital flight. So that is why every market seems to be really responding to what is happening in the US, and everyone seems to be looking towards the West to see if they are really indeed going to start cutting the interest rate. So that's the story in Japan then. But one interesting thing that we see with mainland China, if you look at how the Shanghai Composite closed, what we've seen here is, we've seen the electric vehicle market, we've seen China expanding the electric vehicle market well into Afghanistan and quite a number of regions. So what that signals is probably a change in tactic by the Chinese or by the Chinese manufacturers. And we do anticipate to see such changes in tactics and techniques as we move closer to the election in November 20 in the US, because the outcomes of that are actually going to determine where China is going to stand in terms of in relations to what we call, the tariffs and the trade war and quite a number of things. So we are already seeing Chinese automakers all moving in that direction of really trying to rearrange their production processes and pushing certain production processes out of mainland China into countries that are not going to be getting those tariffs. So it's an interesting story to watch and see, Lulu. And then what we are seeing on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange is we are seeing a very bullish Johannesburg Stock Exchange sitting at around 3,850, 83,500. So that's yet another new record this year. So what the data is showing is, yes, we are seeing the bulls might be returning, but it's an issue of what the interest rate story holds. So what we are waiting to see again is that story within the US market, how the interest rate is going to come. And actually what we noted again is the dollar is also weakened against our local currency, against the rand. So we've seen that slight increase as well. So that's also spurring some momentum into the market, really signaling that the bulls are about to return. And we are also seeing gold flickering and performing better. So that is what is also boosting the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, because it is a stock exchange that is laden in terms of the minerals. And then when we move into the commodities, Lulu, what we're seeing in terms of the commodities there is the fact that gold has also hit a new record high, but it is somehow stabilizing at about $2,500 per barrel. So again, what the markets are sizing up and looking into is the fact that gold is a hedging currency, and as we move closer to September, we should actually start seeing that price starting to resign once we have a clearer direction of where the interest rate story is going to go, because that is going to bring about a revival in the market and also really. And then when you look into the story of the price of oil, what oil is responding to again is the issue of we've seen, more calls and mounted calls in the Middle East calling for that ceasefire to actually occur. So that is what we're seeing the oil price also trying to play into. And then also the fact that, yes, we are trying to balance between demand and also the geopolitical tension.